Good morning, Open Heart family. It is a pleasure to be with all of you on this love stream on this gorgeous, beautiful day. I greet you, I bless you, and I see the goddess in you. Will you just join me as I get myself centered, prepared to be a conduit for the divine? May the words of my mouth and the meditation of my heart be a reflection of the divine within. And so it is. Our theme this month here at Open Heart Spiritual Center is What About Love? And my talk title today is Love Is. So in the late 50s and 60s and 70s, it seemed like love had a better image. In the 50s, love is a many splendid thing. And I had no idea that this movie was about like interracial love and love far away and love during war. But again, in the midst of all that chaos, love was considered a many splendid thing. And then in the 60s and the 70s, the Beatles told us, all you need is love. Love, love, love. All you need is love. And how many of you remember these cute little comics? Love is. Love is the one who helps you put the dark behind you. And love is he or she is your favorite ray of sunshine. It was just beautiful. Love was a good thing, a happy thing. And then the 80s came and there was some kind of shift. In New Jack Soul, we had Hathaway. What is love? Baby, don't hurt me. Then we got Punk, and Howard Jones said, what is love anyway? Does anybody love anybody anyway? Pat Benatar is, love is a battlefield. It's like, what is going on? And then Heart, this great pop duo, said, what about love? Don't you want somebody to care about you? What about love? Don't let it slip away. What about love? I only want to share it with you. You might need it someday. And then the diva, the empress, the queen, the duchess, the goddess of rock and roll said herself, what's love got to do with it? What's love but a secondhand emotion? What's love got to do with it? Who needs a heart? When a heart can be broken, it just seems like love is this thing outside of you that's coming to get you. It's going to hurt you. You might need it someday. Secondhand, it's like, wow, that love is just some thing force outside of you and it's just feeling and it's emotional attachments. Is that all that love is? Oh, hang on, my bookcase is falling. Well, let's go to some sources that know that love begins within and go to some spiritual texts that can give us a more heart-centered definition of what love is. So this first quote comes from the Hadith, which is a collection of sayings by Muhammad, and may peace be upon him. The quote is, you will not enter paradise until you believe, and you will not believe until you love one another. Right, straight out of that writing, that love one another. You don't even have to be a Christian for that to be a part of your mantra, your way of being. Muhammad himself, love one another. And then from the Yajur Veda, which is prose text, or prose sacred text of Hinduism, the one who loves all intensely begin perceiving in all living beings a part of himself. He becomes a lover of all, a part and parcel of the universal joy. He flows with the stream of happiness and is enriched by each soul. Then if we go to the sacred text of New Testament, so many texts in there about love, but probably the most famous is 1 Corinthians 13, 1 through 13, where Paul begins, did I speak in the tongues of men and angels, but have not love? I am nothing but a clanging cymbal. And then these verses 4 through 8. Love is patient and kind. Love is not jealous or boastful or proud or rude. It does not demand its own way. It is not irritable. And it keeps no record of being wronged. does not rejoice about injustice, but rejoices whenever the truth wins out. Love never gives up. Love never loses faith. It is always hopeful and endures through every circumstance. So then we take it from this spiritual aspect, and it shows us that love is something that's eternal. We see that it's communal, right? If you love everybody. You can't just, well, I love a few folks, and it's not love. That love is communal, that to enter into heaven, into the mind state, that sacred space of heaven, of consciousness and connection with the cosmic Christ, we've got to love everyone. And that love is an expression of the divine. That once you start loving, you see yourself, which is the divine, in everyone. It is an action, right? It's not boastful, it's hopeful, it encourages, it always believes. It is divine, it is the divine in action. It is a way of being. And I remember when one of my very first instances of divine in action of love in this place is when Gail had fallen through our attic to our concrete. You know, our plumber was here, Dustin. Thank you, Dustin, who was a white Pentecostal preacher. And he was up in his house with these LGBTQ black ladies from the West. And when Gail came through that attic, he could have, what they did, him and the young man that was helping here, get her in the house and call 911, and he would have done enough, and I would have been thankful. But he stayed until that ambulance got here. And then he called me on her phone. And when I saw her gorgeous face come up, and I'm like, hey, baby cakes, and I heard his voice, I was like, wow, the fear came right in me. And he's like, this is what happened, called the ambulance, and I was just panicking. And he said, I think they're going to take her to Methodist North. I'm like, I don't know where that is, we just moved. He's like, I'm going to stay on the phone with you. So I said, I don't know how to get there. He's like, where are you at? Right? I was just so panicky. And he told me, I knew, just go on the 14. And then I was on the way there, and he says, well, he gave me a little place to stop in between. And he called me, says, they're not taking her there, they're taking her to the med. I don't know what, right? I was just, He told me how to get there. He called that night. He called the next day. He kept checking in on her. He saw me in the grocery store. Now, I didn't know him, but he had met Lily, so he recognized me with her and just embraced me. And I'm so grateful that all the titles, that this white Pentecostal preacher didn't care about these two black LGBTQ ladies, but what he saw was love. And he was God in action. And that's what love is. Action, where you bring love, light, hope, and healing. And so, Dustin, I love you forever, and thank you. What does the founder of the Centers for Spiritual Living or Science of Mind say about love? That love is the greatest power in the universe. It is the basis and source of everything. Love is the sole impulse for creation, and the man or woman who does not have it as the greatest incentive in their life have never developed the real creative instinct. No one can swing out into the universal without love, for the whole universe is based upon it. Love is within us. It cannot be destroyed. It can't be ignored. And to the extent that we abandon love, we feel it has abandoned us. Denying love is our only problem, and embracing it is the only answer. Through the power of love, we can let go of past history and begin again. Love heals, love forgives, and love makes whole. Just as John was talking about that God isn't a noun, it's right, God is an energy, a substance, a way of being. It is like gravity. It is like light. It is. And that love is in that same thing. Love is an energy. It is a force. It is a healing agent. It is a way of being. And that invitation for John to use the next 30 days, starting from his first sermon, to be loving. That love is our default. Love is a way of being. And I'll end our time together with this quote from Gary Zukav, the author of Seat of the Soul. Love is not a passive state. It is an active force. It is the force of the soul. Love does more than bring peace where there is a conflict. It brings a different way of being in the world. It brings harmony and an active interest in the well-being of others. It brings concern and care. Love brings light. Namaste.